Let's call it a showcase. Throughout this eye-opening dialogue, we'll bring you real-life examples of modern cyber warfare and unveil insights from the world's most significant cyber defense exercises. And for this, let me invite to the stage Siim Alatalu, who's the CEO of CR14, a cyber defense and security innovation center, and Dr. Adrian Venables, senior researcher at the Tallinn University of Technology. Please welcome Siim and Adrian to the stage. Applause.
Thank you. We're off. Right. Hello, everybody. My name is Siim, and I'm one of the cyber rangers working at CR14. And CR14, probably you know the code already. CR stands for a cyber range. And me and Adrian from Taltech, we're about to talk to you about the war we don't see. Now, a cyber range, what it is. Imagine a military training area. So different kinds of terrain. You see it on the Estonian map here. And it's a place where you can try out new concepts. And not to try out new concepts like we see, for those of you who've been to town, we have trenches everywhere in Tallinn. But real concepts when it comes to new technologies, different kinds of caliber, different kinds of scenarios. And cyber range is the equivalent to that. So this is a place where you can try out new concepts. You can be bold as a Star Trek or the Texas Ranger, and you can do innovation without collaterals. Cyber range is really something that you might be looking for when you think of a good missile or a war game. You can simulate everything without collateral damage. You can do the exercises either for tabletop scenarios or for real critical information infrastructure protection scenarios. You can do it with countries. There are different kinds of CRs, and ours is unique because it's a multiverse. It started all with the Estonian cyber range. It runs some of the biggest exercises we have in cyber defense worldwide. We're also the official home of the NATO cyber range. And we're really proud that tomorrow we'll be signing an important agreement with NATO to become the official test center, the first cyber defense test center for the NATO Diana program you've been hearing about earlier. And we are also developing a special products for you, the startups. It's called the Open Cyber Range, where we open this formerly military capacity all for you to explore and entertain for your products and services, applications, software, you name it. Now, Open Cyber Range is one thing, but we're also developing a classified cyber range. And classified cyber range, I think that's a good moment here to tell that since we're in a tight schedule, there won't be a Q&A later on. But please do look us up for any information on the Open Cyber Range. I promised to speak about a serious issues like war we don't see. The challenge of having cyber secure solutions is like a moving target. Is your data safe? Are your equipment secure? Are your solutions part of you? If you're a founder or a VC, are they part of your equations? There's not enough awareness of all the challenges anywhere. And, you know, in your own company, you might well be the lonely cyber ranger, the lone ranger, the guy who knows alone about everything and is able to fix everyone's computers. Sounds familiar to you? Well, for now, fortunately, the technology and cybersecurity is still under the control of human beings. And we are in control of that. And that guy, by the way, he's not available for hiring. But thinking beyond brilliant data centers, enormous amounts of virtual machines you can deploy, what is then the biggest challenge? What is the next war we don't see? Who might walk in and derail everything for us? Some of the servers you see here in the video blinking, they are hopefully working hard right now as we speak somewhere in Ukraine. So it was a small step for CR14, but hopefully making a big difference in the fight against evil. In the meantime, in peacetime, the servers we kept, they are powering up some of the world's biggest exercises like Lock Shields or Crosswords or NATO Cyber Coalition or CWIX. And we're really proud that we're able to serve up to 40 countries in a simultaneous way. But we're also, as mentioned, we're open to your contributions as well. Where is the limit when you think of cyber ranges and national security? Obviously, sky is the limit, or if we're more precise, space. So if you ask me, the biggest challenge, the next big strategic cyber challenge will be cybersecurity of space. Imagine satellites. Are we ready to see if all the lights go blinking red? Now, if you think we are so dependent on satellites in our daily lives, they are guiding us, they are informing us, they are following us. And if somebody took them away, that would be a real game changer for our way of life. So for CR14, the next level challenge, the next limit we're pushing is space cybersecurity. We are planning to add to our multiverse a space cyber range. If you ask me how, I don't know. But we'll find that out in the next few couple of months. And actually, we'd be keen to learn from you and also offer this as an avenue for consideration when you're coming up with your innovative solutions for defense or for normal civilian life. There's a saying that quest means business, and this will certainly be a very interesting quest for us. And please do not hesitate to share any ideas with us later on. Before I hand over to Adrian, I would nevertheless take a moment to really pitch on what CR14 can do for you right now. As mentioned, we are a cyber range, a multiverse of cyber ranges, and there is a thing called Open Cyber Range. Open Cyber Range is built with the purpose of security by design. If you know the Cyber Resilience Act discussed on the EU side, that's one thing, but business interests are even better. So I dare you might want to be the one whose products are the ones who are cyber secure and thus an excellent business opportunity. So what we offer right now already is computing power in an isolated environment, be it very low traffic or mission critical apps, a secure DevOps environment, a cyber exercising environment, a cyber physical system simulator, a set of them. Coming soon, we're going back to the roots and we're developing a digital twin of the military training area of the Estonian Defence Forces, at least the first part of it. But nevertheless, available here and today. Let's exchange ideas. With this, thank you very much for your attention. And now, Adrian will brief you in on what it really will be about in space. Thank you so much.
Right, well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for hanging on to the last speaker of the last track of the space and defence. I know I'm keeping you from lunch. So let's talk about space. And half of you will think nothing to do with me, and the other half will say, GPS, that's all about space. And you'll be absolutely right. GPS is all about space. And you think of your phones, yep, GPS, and you think of my cars, and you'll think of Tallinn's delivery robots. But actually, GPS gives you three things. It gives you position, and position's really important if you happen to be a ship at sea and you want to know where to point your satellite dish. It's really important if you are a laser ring gyro and you need to know exactly where you are. And it's really important if you're a green Bolt scooter and you want to tell your company where you are so you can be charged. So that's position. The navigation stuff, well, that's your phone, your car, and your ship, and your aircraft. So that's quite important. But there's also timing. Each GPS satellite has an atomic clock. And that is absolutely vital. That timing is really important for all sorts of things. Cryptographic algorithms rely upon it, and so do financial transactions, and the whole internet relies upon very accurate timing. So if GPS goes down, actually, that's the whole of the internet gone. So that timing element is really important. So GPS in space is key. Communication satellites, you may think that's old hat. It's all done by undersea cables now, but they're still very important. Military use them, aircraft use them, ships use them, TV reporters use them. If you live in the middle of nowhere, you'll have your internet and your communications from satellite. So that's really important as well. And of course, space is vital for satellites looking for weather, space weather, science, all sorts of things. So space is more than just GPS and your phone. And so if you talk about cybersecurity, and remember, cybersecurity is all about bad people doing bad things to you, there are bad actors in space. Well, Russia and China have a proven anti-satellite capability. Russia very kindly demonstrated this by blowing up one of their old satellites, and in doing so caused the astronauts in the International Space Station to have to go and hide in their special secure place, because all of a sudden it became a space denial weapon with thousands of bits flying around which needed to be tracked. Currently, I understand that NASA is tracking over 25,000 bits of space junk all flying around, and NASA says that some of them are flying at 17,500 miles an hour. Now, that means nothing to us Europeans, even though I'm from the UK, but I live here. 17,500 miles an hour, that's 6,000 meters a second. That can do a lot of damage to your satellite. So blowing things up in space is really not a good idea, particularly if you're Russia and China, and that's what you use space as well. So cyber means that's the really key to do it. How do you hack a satellite? Well, there's various means you can do it. You can spoof it. You can send it false signals. GPS has been spoofed. That's been proven. You can jam the signal, and that's been proven in Ukraine and elsewhere. The signal from GPS and communication satellites can be very, very weak, and so you can deny that as well. Plus, of course, you can do good old conventional hacking of the system. And when you think you've got a ground segment, and you've got a space segment, and the bit in the middle, well, the bit in the middle you can use electronic warfare for. You can then try and attack conventional cyber hacking on the ground segment. But what happens if you attack a satellite? Well, you can do all sorts of really bad things to a satellite. You can turn it off. You can send it false signals and have it broadcast stuff which it shouldn't really be doing. Or you can start to move it around in space. Now, even though we think of satellites as having arms and solar panels, satellites have little rockets with a limited amount of fuel to keep it in space, in its right position, its right orbit. And if you can hack that satellite, then you can start to move it around. You might want to send it into the Earth's atmosphere. You might want to send it out. You may just want to use up the fuel so the satellite becomes worthless. You may want to turn that communications antenna just so it can't talk to its ground station, at which point it becomes useless as well. So there's all sorts of things you can do. And now we're not talking about state actors. What about cyber criminals? What about ransomware on a satellite? Would that be a thing? How would you deal with that? What about just hacking the satellite for fun, for ego, for political means? All sorts of elements you could do. And unfortunately, satellites happen to have a number of significant vulnerabilities. You don't just patch a satellite, particularly if it's quite old. Some of them have been up there for 10, 15, 20 years. Credentials are hard-coded. They're there. If you know those credentials, you might be able to break into that satellite. You might be able to recode it. What do you do to it if the software is old and it's well known, and how do you counteract it? Well, the answer is you come to CR14. So if you have anything to do with space, or you think you have an interest in it, if your company, your organization relies upon a space segment, be it the ground segment, the communications issue, or the satellites themselves, then you can come and talk to us, and we will investigate it with you on our open cyber range. We are focusing on a space element where we will have, talking to you, whatever you require, in order to give you the simulation, the training, the practice. Perhaps you have your own software. You can put it on the on the range, and then we could test it for vulnerabilities, mitigations, how to get around it, and basically how to make your system safer. So Sim and I will be around today. You'll recognize us from our, I won't do this too much for the photography, but anyway, Space Ranger, that's who we are. So come and see us, come and talk to us, and hopefully we can help you to make your reliance on space safer and make you understand the threats better, the risks, how you can mitigate them to make your communications and your reliance on the space segment much safer. And with that, I thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.